It's time for WTAP's Football Frenzy, the Mid-Ohio Valley's home for the most complete football action. Sponsored by West Virginia University at Parkersburg.
Well, the first Friday of November means playoff time in Ohio and almost the end of the regular season in the Mountain State. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to week number 11 of Football Frenzy, brought to you by West Virginia University at Parkersburg. I'm Josiah Schuneman, and joining me now is a familiar face, former WTAP Sports Director Jim Warden. Thanks for joining us, Jim.
Josiah, glad to be a part of the Football Frenzy team once again, at least for maybe just one more show. It's the best time of the year with 6 of our Ohio teams beginning playoff trail in the search of a state championship, while our West Virginia teams trying to lock in their best playoff positions and just playing for pride.
And we begin with a perennial postseason power, the Fort Fry Cadets. The Cadets began their 10th consecutive playoff run this evening, hosting Buckeye Trail.
And the Cadets were looking to begin. They're a big part of the playoffs and go into a postseason run on a high note. Both teams battle-tested during the regular season and were out to put on a good fight tonight in front of the fans.
And go right out to it to the first quarter. Drew McGlumpy hands it off to Blake Wable, and he bounces it to the outside. He's got room to work with, and he works his way down the sideline until he's finally taken down by Clayton Miller. A huge gain for the Warriors. That then leads to this play at the goal line. McGlumpy hands it back off to Wable. Again, he's into the end zone. They convert on the two-point conversion to make it 8-0. On the ensuing Fort Fry drive, Grady Hessen with a jet sweep to Tice Beardsley. He cuts it back, breaks a tackle, and he's got room for a big gain of his own as he fights his way past midfield. What a run that was. And the Cadets would take advantage of that big play with some misdirection here. Beardsley takes the inside handoff and breaks free for the score. They are on the board and cut it to 8-7. Final seconds of the first, it's another jet sweep. This time Clayton Miller takes the handoff. He gets some nice blocks downfield, and he springs free for the touchdown. Cadets go on top 14-8. They go on to get the win over Buckeye Trail by a score of 30-22.
Our next stop is Reidsville, where the Eastern Eagles in their powerful ground game open up at home against Centersburg. Trojan QB Blaine Bell on the keeper up the middle, dodging Eagle Gavin Smith. He gets run out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Mike Miles finishes off the drive, taking it up the middle and into the end zone, giving the Trojans a 14-12 lead in the second quarter. Now on the ensuing kickoff, Trayvon Beers is going to pull it in about the 5-yard line right there, and he's heading upfield. He has good blocking, finds a seam up the middle to the near sideline. He's on his way. He'll finally get pushed out of bounds at about the 25-yard line.
What a return that was.
Yes, it was. Trojans, though, trying to add to their lead. Bell's going to go to the air, intended for Jonah Gribben, but it's picked off by Brady Rockhold. But it would not be the Eagles' night as the Trojans are headed to the second round of the playoff with a 34-12 upset of the Eastern Eagles.
Now heading across the mighty Muskingum with Waterford hosting Fairbanks. Carter Miller tries to escape pressure, but he will be brought down in the backfield by Logan Jackson for a sack. Wildcats up 20-7 in the third. Later on, Hayden Jones fakes the handoff, and he will keep it himself. He gets a few good blocks. He cuts it back inside. He takes a shot, but he bounces off multiple defenders, and he is streaking down the sidelines. He will finally get pushed out of bounds. What a great run from Jones, and that sets up this play at the goal line as his brother Colton Jones takes the handoff, and he bursts into the end zone for a touchdown. Waterford now up 27-7 late in the third, but then on the ensuing kickoff, Fairbanks has an answer. Braden Weedman is back to return, and he appears to get stacked up here, but he's going to break several tackles and just refusing to go down, and then he breaks free. He's able to outrun everybody down the sidelines for a huge kickoff return touchdown to make it 27-14. But in the fourth quarter, Hayden Jones would take it up the middle for the score, and the Wildcats move on with a 34-21 victory. Jim.
Moving up the Division III playoffs because Jimmy Payton's Warriors are looking to play Cinderella role tonight, night after Halloween, taking on top-seeded Bishop Watterson. Early in the first quarter, Drew Belisari trying to find Dominic Theodo, but Tanner Pepper, the Warriors, takes him down, forcing the Eagles to settle for a field goal later in the first. As Belisari going to the air, he finds Tommy Haley taking it in for the quick touchdown. Eagles up 10-0. Next drive, Warren trying to switch it up a little. Jacob Seeley connects with Aiden Strahler, but he's quickly overrun by the Eagles defenders. Warriors would go on the punt early in the second as Belisari handing it off to Zach Weber,
Nice run.
takes it up the middle for the score. but it did not be enough. And now we have more action there as the Belisari hands it off to Ben Ulenek, and he does the rest, putting the Eagles up 23-0. Warriors weren't able to overcome Watterson as they prevail 44-7. Warren wraps up the season at 7-4.
Well, stay with us. There's a lot more ahead on Football Frenzy,
including the Big Reds as they take on Huntington in the friendly confines of Stadium Field.